Yeah.
All right, so we've got a couple of participants. Let's see who's on here. I think it's just the room and
Slow down the work.
then Jesus. So Erin is on her phone, so let me see if I can figure it out.
Cover location.
I'm gonna promote her to. I know.
I just called the change rate.
The plans, but I'll-
It says Aaron's phone.
No money.
I wonder if that's scratches, yeah, right. I mean,
It's funny, but yeah,
That's actually. That's her.
Oh, good, okay.
Riley.
Hello. Good. You?
Hang in there. Are you on your way here or are you doing the meeting from your phone?
I'm gonna have to do it from my phone. Unfortunately, my shift just ended in Hartford.
Got it.
All right, so I think we're good. Whenever you guys are ready to
Okay.
start the meeting.
No, you're right.
You know, it's like, yeah.
So like just.
Yeah, so you'll know if that changes from 3 to check on this thing. Okay. All right.
I mean, no. Oh.
Yeah. And this has been vetted. So I'm going to the West Innocence. They have not screwed me. You see, also really they've seen it with me there. It's an official. Yeah. And it even was. Well, I am by myself. Robert, how are you?
Good, how are you?
This is fine and those should be.
How you doing? I'm good, thank you.
You call the order,
It's on.
call meeting to order at 5 minutes after 4. And the first order of business is the pledge of allegiance, which we usually skip. We'll meet minutes of the 1/21/26 meeting. Anyone move that? I move that we accept the minutes as provided before draft minutes that we sent out. All those in favor?
Hi.
Good comment.
Sure.
Let's start.
I'm a liaison.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Robert Letzkis, 32 Mathaway Lane. Company name is Refine Living. I am one of the respondents for the Academy School, one of the proposals. And I'd like to mention that I do affordable housing throughout the state of Connecticut, entry-level homes as well. Ground up construction it's become very difficult to get the pencil out. We still are able to pull it off in certain areas, but you have to basically get the land for almost nothing to make it work, even with subsidy. With a historic building, it's very easy to get the capital stack together to make it work. So I know that this committee recommended that housing would be something that would be recommended for the Academy School, and I'd like to, show my face and say, thank you for that. I think it's a great project to do, and I consider the fact that we have 28 units that would be averaging about 60% of the AMI. I think it would be a great. I'd like to ask for this committee's support if we are selected by the Board of Selectmen.
Have you gotten any proper support from the board or anybody else?
I believe they're going to make a decision on which pathway they're going to go with on their next meeting.
Oh, really?
I hope so. That's what I'm praying for. So, it's been a lot. It's been about 7 months so far. So it's been,
Do you have a card?
I sure do.
Yeah.
Yep.
And just remind us, your company's proposal had what affordable housing component?
I have 28 workforce housing units, which will, you're welcome, cut into your 830G, 8-30G mandate based on affordability. So there's 28, which mine has the most amount out of all the
And
proposals.
what else do you have? You have,
Rooftop restaurant proposed, commercial space in the front, a mini mall in the back, and office space in the basement.
all space and space.
Yes.
And the big issue that I've heard, people talk about is parking. Thoughts there?
Yeah. So we have we actually proposed, if you look at the old, the proposal from online, you can see it. I'm happy to print one out for you
No,
as
no,
well.
no, sorry, we did see it. But,
Yep, so where the basketball courts are now is where I was proposing my park. So it'll be off the path, and it's the least impactful on the property.
A multi-story, or it was surface?
Surface all,
Right, nothing.
preserving the ball fields, which is important to the town as well.
Yep.
Not adding onto the building, just keeping it the way it is. Yeah. I think that's the best direction, in my opinion.
And you're very comfortable about the financing that goes into preservation issues.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Historic tax credits, which are, you make up about 45% of the capital stack. So
Oh, really?
affordable units, and the ask from the Department of Housing and the CHFA, that capital stack works every day. So doing ground up, you don't have the luxury of the historic tax credits. So ground ups are not impossible to do. I do them, but this one here is a relatively
And
simple
I
ask.
believe the town still owns the land. Is that the
The
idea?
town still owns the land. I proposed it two different ways. One with myself purchasing it for $1 million, just an acre and a half. It's about 1.55 acres, where they would retain, the town would retain 3.5 acres, which would be the ball fields and the parking and all that. One area I would have parking under my proposal, and then the other would be a lease, a long-term lease. But I can do it either way. I propose to have some skin in the game with $1 million. I think the town could do a lot with that. Personally, maybe to
Plow the
ball
streets.
fields.
Plow
Yeah,
the streets.
yeah, exactly. So, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. We have copies of the, Riley, I'm afraid you, since you're in Hartford, I can't show you this, but we've been working on this affordable housing fund for what seems like a very long time. And we have the final version of this in the form of it should go to the Board of Supervisors. So the only thing we have to do is, I can't get this to you in the car, but can you just take a look at this, Anthony, and also Michael, and just get a feeling this. I'm going to ask for a vote to approve passing this on to the Board of Selectmen for acceptance.
And just to clarify, we talked about this before we were officially meeting. So this is the draft that we prepared with Erin, and then we talked about it.
Reviewed
And
by
Erin was going to go to the town lawyer, and that's what this is now. So it's been blessed. by-
This would be the language that they would adopt, actually.
The attorney's seen this?
Pardon?
Yeah, the town attorney has seen this?
Yeah, this is her
This
stuff. This would be the language that the Board of Selectmen would be voting.
Okay.
So can I just have a minute?
Sure, no, take your time.
It's been a month or two since I looked at this. So I just want to just.
Votes?
My only thought is I'm just incredibly happy that we've gotten to the point where we have a document that, meets all the legal requirements and I think we've teed this up for the Board of Selectmen.
Completely.
Right, we've made it really, really simple for them to say yes or no.
Exactly.
And, what we didn't, when we first had the conversation with them, kind of informally, 6 months ago or so, they had some questions about it. They just weren't sure how it would work. So now you know, everyone's blessed it. The lawyer has blessed it. The way it's
I've seen it, but I'm not sure.
yeah, and again, if they choose not to do it, they choose not to do it. But we've done, just gotta feel like we
Yeah.
did the heavy lifting that was required to put this in front of them and have them consider it. So I feel pretty good about it.
Any other thoughts?
No, I echo those comments. And it's good to see, if I'm not missing it, that originally when we were thinking about this, they said they were going to use the funds for other things than affordable housing. Seems like they've limited, the language is limited to affordable housing.
It's limited to affordable housing, but if we ever hit the 10% number, the money can be used for.
Yeah, well, good luck.
Similar thing.
Okay.
Well,
Hey, I hope we do.
it's in, it's in, right.
Yeah, okay.
And that's why having the
Oh,
lawyer,
28 units, right there you go.
but that's why having the lawyer
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
was really good because you
Yeah.
know
Yeah, what happens, what
we didn't
happens?
have that in there. And yeah, if we hit 10%, great. Let them use it for other purposes.
Okay, so I'll ask for a vote. Riley, you can abstain or as you wish, but we're calling for a vote on sending this to the Board of Selectmen for their review and acceptance. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, unanimously. We had a little brief conversation before the meeting, and the next item here is the working plan for 2026. And I think the people made a suggestion, and I think we should actually make it an official policy of ours, is that we need to meet with the town and review the whole idea of the affordable housing committee, how it's staffed, how we, what our responsibilities are, and what we're going to be doing in the future if we're going to do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, we are an official commission of the town. I think they'd be very reluctant to vote the committee out of business because that would be a bad sign, I think. On the other hand, this has been very difficult. Riley, you're happy to have you here because you just increased by a third the number of members of the committee. We actually have 7 members that we are supposed to have. We started 3 years ago. This is the 4th year that we're in. And hi, Jen.
Hi, guys. I'm here.
Good. You're right on time, actually, because we're talking about something that I'd like you to hear your opinion on.
Oh, okay.
So we've been doing this for 3.5 years so far, and we have accomplished something concrete. Hopefully it's approved by the Board of Selectmen. But it's a little discouraging that we are not able to move a little faster. And I think the town needs to consider what exactly is the role of the Affordable Housing Committee. And one of the things to think about is perhaps expanding the idea of affordable beyond 830G. In other words, if you are offering for rent, for example, apartments that are below market, below the average of the market. So if you're getting over the cap, if you're getting $3,000 for a 2-bedroom, one that's a single bedroom, adds another unit to the town's inventory, and then it effectively gives more opportunity for people to live here, even though they can't buy a house the same way before. But I think I think we've reached that point, Jen, where we need to really stop and rethink the whole process. And the idea of the Affordable Housing Committee, the definition of the Affordable Housing Committee was really made 5 or 6 years ago. And so I think another look.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point, Mark. I think where we struggle with, in terms of the definition of what's affordable and not, that's not so much coming from Madison, that's coming from the state in terms of what they consider units that count towards affordable. So that's where a little bit of the struggle comes from with that. But I think, it definitely is worthwhile revisiting kind of that checklist that was incorporated into the affordable housing plan, the one that you mentioned that was kind of adopted 5-6 years ago, and just see where we're at with those action items, and then addressing the board and saying, is this is this still the goal? You know, are we on target, or do we need to reassess the kind of terms and definitions of what we're working towards?
Right, right. Well, when I was saying affordable, not 830G, when I was saying that is one thing that would be helpful in Madison is if more people could afford to live here, and the types of units that are available, since we're almost all single family houses with a median price of $700,000,
Yeah.
or housing that is able, younger people, people with less than qualifying for 830G, but
Mhm.
we're paying quote market rate. But for smaller units, or perhaps the granny units that we talked about before, things like that, to
Mhm.
create opportunity and in fact make Madison more accessible, even though they don't all qualify for 830G. Subsidies.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying there. You know, just increasing the variety of housing stock so that there are those units that are more attainable price
Yes.
wise. And then that kind of goes along, I think, too, with one of the agenda items further down, which was kind of going over the discussions you've had with the facilities committee, correct? And
Yes.
so that they've been looking at all of the kind of vacant land that we have available in town as well, and starting to do some dives into what parcels are compatible for housing and that sort of thing. And I know that's kind of adjacent, maybe a little bit of duplication in some ways of some of the work that you guys did earlier on.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, but it's I think it's great that you guys are connecting with them so that these efforts can kind of happen in concert.
Well, we actually haven't been able to have much connection with them. They haven't even filed a report, an interim report, according to Aaron. Aaron, remember we were talking about this. Can you give us a little bit more information?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks. I was just able to park now. So I wanted to say two things. As far as the scope of the commission, I think that should be revisited, especially in light of recently approved Public Act 25-1, which essentially makes all affordable housing plans obsolete and places the requirement on municipalities to come up with housing growth plans instead, which broadens the scope of housing beyond just affordable, deed restricted affordable, as defined in 830G. So I think that's a relevant conversation and something that we should make one of our priorities over the next few months, to kind of bring some proposals to the Board of Selectmen to kind of broaden that, maybe more of a housing commission as opposed to just an affordable housing commission. So that's one thing. And then, yes, if you're ready for facilities, I can give you some information that I have had discussions with David Kademis, the chair of the facilities committee, and kind of what direction they're moving in. And I would also recommend that maybe it would be appropriate, Mark, for you to meet with David as well to kind of go through the Affordable Housing Committee's goals. I know they had some properties on their list that were recommendations from some of the work that Jane and Francine had done early on. And some of the other town properties that they're looking into feasibility are additional land areas up more north on 79, sort of behind Ryerson. One is another area off of Ridge Road near the Brush and Leaf facility, and then the east portion of Bower Park on the east side of Cops Road. Those were the three areas that they've engaged their consultants to do some real preliminary feasibility kind of desktop analyses of that property, as far as soil types and wetlands and things like that, whether or not they would be suitable for housing.
for any kind of housing. They're not taking a position on the kind of housing.
I don't, I mean, it could be any type of housing. Affordable housing would be an option. Yes. I don't know that I can't recall, to be honest, if they are coming forward with any specific recommendations for types of housing. I think one of the goals of the committee, at least my understanding, is that they're looking at various town properties, some repurposing of buildings, changing locations of certain uses throughout town, and some of those looking at the housing as an opportunity to try to offset some of those expenses as well. So I don't really know what the mechanism would be. I'm not sure they've gotten that far, as far as developing. I think it would be short-sighted to not include some element of affordable housing in any of those developments on town property.
Okay, well, the next step then will be talk to David.
Yeah, I don't know that they have. I mean, I've heard some preliminary feedback from the consultant, and I know there was a presentation to the Board of Selectmen, but I don't believe a formal study has been released at this point from any of the consultants.
That's what I understand, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that's accurate.
Well, I think that basically is our next task if we are willing to take it on. Huh? I'd be happy to meet with David. You want to reach out to him? Sure. Yeah, I do need to get his contact information, but I'd be happy to. Okay, I think we can get that. Yeah.
I have his contact information. I can forward it to you.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm happy to make the connection as well if you want to sit down or get a coffee and see where they stand.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Any other comments on that?
No, seems like a good direction.
Mm-hmm. So why don't we, I mean, this is going to be a very short meeting, but I think why don't we plan our next meeting in April to be a meeting, and we'll have to just discuss meanwhile about who should be there. But I think we probably should bring in people like David and people like Carol Snow. I mean, so have a group discussion and instead of a business meeting.
I mean, I do feel like the planning and zoning committee, the facilities committee, and our committee have some intersections.
Clearly.
And I feel like we've not been at the table with those two in any real meaningful way where we can get some direction from them about how we can assist. And again, the answer is no, they don't want our assistance. You know,
That's an answer.
That's an answer. But at least, or if it's, well, you know, let's have further conversations and figure this out. That's a path. But I feel like once, you know, other than the housing trust fund, I think is very real and very actionable, we should feel really good about that. We're kind of,
It's been a long time.
we're a solution in search of a problem, right? And we need to kind of figure out,
Yeah,
you know, how to do this.
I agree.
And it addresses.
Yeah.
I do think as the zoning regs, we're completing our reorganization for this new migration of our regulations, where we can start taking chapter by chapter and going through, actual updates, substantive updates to each section. So I think we've gotten some of the tedious work done, and we'll be reaching out shortly. I think the earliest we can adopt our reorganized regulations would be early May. And then we'll start taking sections by section. I was made aware of funding to address some of the requirements for regulation changes. So our Council of Governments has consultant money allocated that the town can use to discuss some of these. reg changes that are necessary. Some of them do revolve around housing, especially in kind of transit-oriented districts and downtown. So I think that would be very useful to be involved in those conversations, at least to kind of address those specific regs. Some things where the statutes have allowed as of right middle housing in commercial districts and things like that. Those are regulations that we don't currently have. And so we'll see some of these changes coming about in the near future. So it's not, I can tell you honestly that the Planning and Zoning Commission is not ignoring the Affordable Housing Committee or not interested in your opinions. We just haven't gotten to any substantive change yet. We've been staff on the background and our consultant. We've been doing a lot of reorganization of our existing documents so that we can move forward. And so we're finally in a good place.
We have no problem waiting until all the tedious work is done.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
You don't want to be a part of that, Al? Mike?
I'll pass on that. Okay, I think, any other business?
No.
Any other last comments? Go for it.
When I was at,
Everybody else.
wasn't here during, my last, comments, but, no, I just think, I really think Academy School is a prime location for housing. I think it makes sense, and I think it's one of the easiest lifts, out of all the land and all the wetlands and that are here in town. I think it's one of the easiest lifts that we can do, so.
It doesn't flood there. Yeah.
No. Well, the ball fields get a little wet, but it's something that an engineer could work with. So,
Thank you. Aaron, we have, when you were parking, we approved the Housing Trust Fund regs, and would you, I don't know what the process is to get it to the Board of Selectmen, but would you handle that, please?
Sure. Yep. I'll get in touch with Peggy.
Okay, anything else? Nothing? And we are adjourned.
All right. Well, that's sweet. Thank you for your time, guys, and
Thank you.
twice.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
You want us any roots?
Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here's what I think.